Hello, eRank, and welcome to another eRank Live Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, her, Starla Moore, and we might have another little face. I'm just waiting to see if his camera comes on. There's a surprise.
We've had a lot of camera troubles today, haven't we? Or you guys have. My camera always works. That's
Your camera's perfect. My camera worked too. Yeah, just not want to complain about everything, but oh goodness, for some reason this piece of software would not connect to my camera, and I tried every other piece of software. It was working quite fine. Like, we're supposed to be 2 minutes from going live. Starla's like, Pam, we're just gonna reboot another 3 more times, because that's my technical ability, is turn it off and on again.
Hey, Gary. Hopefully we can get Anthony on here. Pam, I just sent him my link. I don't know if it's the same link, but if not,
it should be the same. He tried to pop in a minute ago. That's just as I came on and I was letting you on. It says Anthony wants to join. I'm like, what? But he's vanished again. So yeah, Anthony, that link should work. If not, I will send him one as well. So we might have an Anthony in a moment. But yeah, this should be a fun one, hopefully. This
so
will be
drama in the world of Etsy, though, with the news about them laying off employees, but hopefully things start moving in a positive direction with this restructuring that Josh was mentioning. If you guys missed the article, it's easy enough to find. It's in nearly every single Etsy group, including mine, including the eRank
several times in every group.
Lots of times, yeah. So you guys don't need to post the links in the eRank group or in my group. We promise they're already there. If you scroll through, you'll find them. But essentially, Etsy is laying off some employees. They did see a decrease in revenue, and I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to assume that Etsy hired a lot of people right after the pandemic, and, e-commerce was doing really well, and Etsy kind of took that as the new norm for their platform. But now that the platform has so many sellers, we're up to almost 7 million, I believe. And people just aren't online shopping the way that they were during the pandemic. Etsy, I think, might have jumped the gun in hiring as many people as they did. Obviously, a lot of us have strong feelings about it because we're not getting the human support that we wish that we did. We're getting a lot of generated responses and swipe files, and many people aren't finding Etsy to be very helpful right now. But we're here to help you guys. We're here to support you. We're here to answer questions when we can. We're here to hear you guys moan and complain, because we certainly are moaning and complaining, but ultimately we're in it for the long haul. So we'll see it through with you till the end.
Yeah, I think all of our DMs blew up yesterday with all of this. It was quite a lot of fun. It's horrible for the staff that are losing their jobs. That's my biggest takeaway from that. I don't think any of us can deny that Etsy needed to make some changes. It's still it's still an awesome platform, but it's difficult. And if any of us thought anything was otherwise, it wasn't going to be difficult coming out of the pandemic, yeah, we were fairly mistaken. I completely saw that this was going to be a tricky time. So yeah, I think we've got a 3, 2, 1. Anthony. Made it. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't let you in until there was actually a camera there.
Yeah, having technical issues.
So was I.
Had to get the X-ray lenses on.
All right. And I know that a couple people had expressed concerns about Vlad from over at TagPup, who his shop got deactivated by Etsy, but he did just post a video today announcing that his shop is back up and running, and he thanked the community. Anthony and I also jumped on that bandwagon, requesting that Etsy manually review that deactivation, since it was a little bit crazy, the grounds that he was deactivated, and he was one of the most popular Etsy sellers. I mean, he had over 1 million sales, but he's back up and running. So
that's great news.
What a great person to help so many people. It's like, he was like so transparent. This is my shop. This is how I do things. This is, I felt like he was sharing the ups and downs and being willing to share more than most other sellers are ever willing to share. And I was irate when I saw that. I mean, like, it annoys me when there are other people, like shops that are just beginning, that have this happen to them. But someone that's been such an advocate for Etsy and so willing to help others struggle, I just saw red. I went into LinkedIn. I'm like,
Yeah.
attention, Etsy.
we both, yeah, me and Anthony, we tag teamed on LinkedIn and made some posts. And Anthony's, yours got a bunch of reactions. Nobody saw mine, but I think that just bringing attention to it, and Vlad being able to use his voice and the community coming together, that we need more moments like that. We need more moments where the community politely comes together and respectfully asks Etsy to change in the ways that we need them to. And that's why we constantly encourage you guys to give Etsy feedback. You know, don't be rude, don't be nasty. They're not going to listen to that type of language, but if you're kind and you're polite and you're constructive with your feedback, they're more willing to listen.
Yeah, I'm still irked by it because you know, the mantra at Etsy is keep commerce human, which is beautiful. I love it. But when you see stuff like that, you feel like it's just PR, you know, spin doctoring that's going on. And it's good to call this stuff out when we see this as, you know, blatant BS, or they're not sticking to the high quality bar they're telling us that we should be sticking to. So the same goes for us. If we do something that really bugs you, let us know. I just came out of the Facebook group because we had Chris, who was pretty upset by one of the features we just redesigned. So I'm looking at that, and Starla and I have been talking about that, and Pam. But, you know, we do something wrong, let us know.
Well, there's 45 people here, 46, probably 47 any second now. Maybe we could get some feedback from you guys on how you feel about it. Which tool? Is competitor sales?
Yeah. So we have we modified the shop info page, which you can get there from competitor sales or from the top sellers report. We've brought in content from different pages because we're trying to make the site simpler, not as many menu items and things like that. So we brought some content together, which has been around for years, or some of it's years, some of it's just this year. Specifically, it's about the estimated sales that your items have had or your competitors have had and how much money we think you've made. It's one of those features which, you know, Sarah and I and Pam kind of feel like, you know, sort of skating on thin ice, borderline creepy. But I'm really hesitant to not do things because there are some criminals out there or whatever. Because there's so much good that can come from understanding this. I'm not going to get to the point where we're going to strive to get 100% accurate. We're never going to use your private data. What we're trying to do is take what a lot of you do today using pen and paper or Excel, and that is look at a listing, try and figure out how many views it's had, look at the price, try and figure out what the conversion rate would be, and then go, oh, that listing's pretty good. And then you go and say, right, what are the tags you're using? What's the secret sauce? Is there something I can do here? That's what the whole intent is. That's why some of our competitors created that sort of stuff. We took a long time before we released ours. I had a call with Etsy to explain to them what we were going to do, explain to them our algorithm and the data we were using, just to make sure that, one, we didn't miss any of the rules. Two, you know, can let them know we're only using public data and stuff like that. So that's the sort of spirit, is to give you some guidance. I mean, my wife, when she first started, and this is our mantra, it's trying to help people grow, like from day one. How do we help you grow? If you look at a shop and you go, imagine going back to day one when you're on Etsy and you go, wow, that shop's doing really well. They've had 10,000 sales. Oh, look at what they've listed. There's an item for $100. I'm going to do that. If we can give you a little bit of guidance that says, hang on a minute, we don't think that product has sold ever, I think that's pretty good advice. It stops you from spinning your wheels and wasting time, and focus on things that we think you can benefit from, that you can actually use to grow your business. So that's the spiel. Now, how we execute that clearly raised concerns today, which is important for us to know. So that's why I jumped on. I really wanted to hear what people think. Does it benefit you? Is it like, I don't care either way? Is it, oh my God, what are you doing? Yeah, let us know. Very keen to know. What have we got so far? I see the chat window scrolling.
There's only one. Somebody had said if you're creating original stuff, it should not worry you. Personally, if you're evolving your items, the copycats are always playing catch up, which is true. And I actually used the tool yesterday, and I was comparing because I had an ornament that blew up during Christmas time, and I was looking at other sellers, just trying to get an idea of how much money they made from their similar ornaments. Where I'm officially licensed by an author, and I was looking at other competitors who were officially licensed, just trying to get an idea of, did I have a winning design? Is there any way that I could take this Christmas design and put it on a different product, or is it just the fact that it's an ornament? And I was trying to compare my revenue for that same item with the revenue of my competitors. So I definitely can see the usefulness there of the tool, but I also, from that seller perspective, I can understand why it's kind of creepy. So it's your guys' feedback that we need to know.
Yeah, I do want to say as well, although it's handy to see these things, bear in mind, if you go and you snoop out the top selling shop in your niche and you copied all their tags, you're not going to do well for it unless you're doing well, because sales history is a big part of how you rank on Etsy. So it's good to look and say, okay, there's a demand for that kind of thing. What can I do that's similar but different? Where can I find my own niche from it? Rather than saying, I'm not worried that people are going to come along and copy me, because the little niche that I have is my own little niche.
Yeah, good luck trying to make what you're making too, because
well, it's
it
true.
actually takes the ingredient, which is talent, right? Yeah. What else are people saying in here?
Crystal had said shop age and sales are key indicators I should look at to determine if I should compare what I'm doing to their success and try to learn from it.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah, I agree. And she said that she finds it helpful. The produce aisle said, I like knowing what's actually making money. It's an important tool. So yeah, just keep giving us feedback, guys. Just know that I think that a lot of the concern was that people thought that when they connected their Etsy shops, that we were taking their data internally from their shops and displaying that, and that if they revoke access to their Etsy shop, that we won't have access to that data anymore. That's not how it works.
No, Etsy are very clear in their rules about their data. And quite rightly, too. A lot of data is just between you, Etsy, and the IRS, or the equivalent in the UK and Europe and other countries. So we are sometimes allowed to see some of that information, but we can only use it under extremely strict circumstances. So that means we can only show that information back to you. So we might be able to create a sales map, for example. It's a novel, different way to present the information. I think Etsy had it years and years ago. So that's one way that we can do that information. We can't show that to anyone else. I mean, you can take a screenshot and share that. That's open season then, but we can't do that, and we'll never do that. To me, that's like a breach of trust. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. So sure wouldn't be doing that. I still feel like there is greater good here to help everyone, and I'm most passionate about helping people that are just starting out. That's in our mantra, right? But again, keep getting the comments in. This is really good for me to sit in on and the team to listen to. It's a great opportunity to shape our tools as we get into the new year.
Yeah, if you all absolutely hated it, then it would be gone. Anthony does listen. That's why he's sitting here. And myself and Starla do nip him as well. Well, apart from him pretending, doing his old man thing there. But we would all be yelling at him if it was an awful tool as well.
I just did that yesterday with the eRank extension. Again, it's my fault, guys.
I didn't like, but it was like, and we still need to have that chat. But Starla said, "Have you ever thought about this?" I'm like, no. It's brilliant.
That's how it always goes. Like in fact, Pam and I have been. Anytime someone brings up the extension, we let them know. We're like, it's our fault that it's taking so long, because every time you get close to finishing it, we're like, wait. But what about this?
Yeah, it was like October. Anthony was going, "Can I just release it next week?" And we're like, "No, this and this."
And I'm glad to hear that, because I'm the product guy. If you've been using eRank for the last 8 years now, you'll know that I'm champing at the bit to release something as soon as it's half ready. And it's been a blessing, and it's also a curse. Like, we've a team of developers now who have to listen to me and go, calm down, Anthony, calm down, slow down. So yeah, I'll stop there. I can rant.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back up to the top of the chat. Hopefully Lori's still here, because she had a question specifically for Pam towards the start of the stream. But she'd asked, the customer picks USPS ground select, but Etsy populates, I should send it priority. Okay. Which is more expensive than the customer paid for.
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't actually answer that one, because I'm in the UK and we don't get the same kind of shipping as you guys get. We have to tell Etsy what we're using. We don't get, labels aren't nearly as good as they are with the US. So, but it sounds like, with the follow-up bit of the question as well, that yeah, she's having Etsy labels are printing out the more expensive option than what the customer's paid for. That sounds like a question for Etsy.
I wish my wife was here. She just went out to the shops. she uses the label system.
Yeah, I haven't in a while. I'm print on demand now, but that sounds like an Etsy support question for sure.
Yeah, it's best thrown at Etsy.
Let us know in the chat if anyone else is having this issue. But yeah, I'm afraid in the UK, USPS doesn't exist. So
yeah. All right. You guys are free to get in some questions, though. We're gonna hang out for a little while. I got a hard stop at 4 o'clock on the dot, but if you guys end up wanting to stick around for longer, since we had a slower start today.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Come on. It's a good sort of question. I hope. We've been making a whole bunch of changes to the design lately and trying to get things smoother and easier to use. And one of the things we've done over the last few days is change the tasks page. That's the page you would see typically when you log in. You'll see the task page or the dashboard, depending on your preferences. But if you use that task page, it's got those series of buttons on there. We kind of streamlined it a little bit. And I'm just curious to know whether it's useful, if there's something we could be doing better in there. How does it look on your screen? Because we're working on improving the design. It's, my wife, Pam, Starla remind me all the time, most of our users are artists. They're very visual. They like things to look certain ways. And anyway, I'm working on making it better. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think about that.
Yeah, I totally know what the tasks page looks like. Yeah, I saw.
I had to go and look. Yeah.
I'm not logging into eRank and checking for myself right now because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
I like it.
It's really meant to be like quick links to get you deeper into the site. So if you're doing keyword research, you click a button, you're off into there. You're wanting to look at the delivery status because you've got hopefully a whole bunch of orders that are on the way out and you want to see what's been delivered and what's not. You can click on the orders button and see that. I just want to know how you feel about it, how useful it is. Is it kind of meh? I used it once, didn't like it, went back to the dashboard. Either way, I'm grown up. I won't cry too much, regardless of what you say. But yeah, value what you think.
Yeah, I like it, especially for the newbies who are logging in if you guys don't want to see it, you can click the little top left box that says don't show it again if you already know how to use eRank and you just want to go straight to your dashboard. But for those newbies who are logging in for the first time and they don't really understand how to navigate eRank, I definitely think that it probably helps a bit with at least pointing them in the right direction to ensure that they're finding the tools that are going to accomplish exactly what it is that they've come to the platform to do. But again, guys, just keep giving us feedback. We did have somebody who had specifically, in terms of the estimates, they said that they're finding that they're way off. I clicked on my own shop and found some of my items that says estimated sales are 144, where I've only sold 3. That's a drastic.
Yeah. So first of all, we can't be perfect, and that's a great example of it. That sort of difference, though, I'd love to know the listing ID, and if you're okay letting me know the sales, that's great. Appreciate that as well. And then what I can do is figure out, are we doing something wrong? I mean, again, this is the problem with using public data. We have to look at things like the number of views that listing's had, the price. We have to try and figure out the conversion rate for that listing. So that means, okay, something of this price might be a certain conversion rate. So there's a bit of art, there's a bit of guesswork that goes on, a little bit of science as well. So if you can give us examples of where it's way off, please let us know. Oh, and interesting trivia for you. Before we launched this, I ran a comparison of eRank, and I'm not going to say the other names here, but some of our competitors that have something similar. And I wanted to figure out how many times we got it right. I mean, like bang on. If it was 3 and we estimated 3, we got it right. Can anyone guess the percentage, the number of times that we got it right, or anyone got it right? What do you think that percentage is?
Oh.
I'll give it a few seconds, see if a few comments come in.
Yeah, well, you're bringing it up, so I think it's either amazing or awful. No one mentions average things, do they?
It's not amazing, let's put it that way.
It's awful.
Okay. It is awful, yeah. 1% of the time. 1% of the time, we get it right. I'm saying this because I like to be transparent about these things. I see other people say it's like, theirs is like 80% accurate. BS, total BS. I challenge anyone to go in and look at their shop. And I'm assuming you don't have 0 sales yet, because that's easy to get 100% right. You got 100 or more sales, you go in there and compare each of the eRank and competitors out there and go, right, how many times did they actually get it right? It's really, really low. That's the nature of using public data. We can only infer and guess for you. Now, that's harsh. That's the shocking headline that you'll see on Fox or CNN or those ones. You know, it's like, hey, click this. But how often do we get it within 10%? It's a lot better, a lot better. You know, that's where it starts to get in the 80s sort of percent. I just want to let people know that it's not perfect. Don't think we are taking your private data and nailing it every single time. It's just not like that. That's the nature of estimates. Anyone that does statistics and mathematics would eat up a quote like, you know, we're 80% accurate. They would eat that up in a flash, because it's just BS.
Now, I think it would be important to clarify, just because I know that people like to turn on their ears for certain phrases and then not catch the full grasp. Specifically, what data are you referring to right now?
So, number of sales.
What I don't want to see is people make YouTube videos about eRank search data, 1% accurate. CEO of eRank says it himself.
Oh, it's out there now. Yeah, no, it's the estimated sales.
Estimated sales.
But back to what Kazopa was saying, I hope I pronounced that right. We should be close to 3. 144. There's something there, we call it like an edge case scenario. So it could be that this listing has got a really, really low conversion rate. Maybe you brought in a truckload of people from Facebook or Twitter or elsewhere, and it just wasn't converting. So I think that's what's happened. But if you can send me the listing ID, I can do a little bit of digging around and figure out, hey, do we need to fix something on our end, or is it just because this is an anomaly, it's an outlier?
Yeah. What factors play into to our estimates? Just if that's something that we can say, they have an idea.
Well, I can say so much, because I don't want to give our competitors anything to go on. I mean, we're neck and neck with one other competitor in our tests. And then there's another one which is like way down. They're like super awful. I mean, I feel like they just had a random number generator. I'm not going to give them tips on how to improve their crappy algorithms. But and I put this in the Facebook thing. It's like, we look at the views. You know, that's public data. So views. We look at the price. And then we look at some other public characteristics about that listing to try and get an idea of what the conversion rate would be like. And then we go, okay, let's multiply that by that by that. There's the revenue estimate. You multiply the views by what we think is a conversion rate. And there is the estimated number of sales. A lot of people do something similar in Excel, or like I said, on pen and paper. They go in there and look at the listing and they go, it's had 10,000 listings. Maybe it's got a 1% conversion rate. So you can guess the number of sales from there, and you can multiply that by the price and get an idea of the price. If the price changes over time, yeah, all bets are off. It starts getting crazy there. I want to be very clear, though. Like Starla said, this is for the sales estimates and the revenue in there. It's still very good. You can still infer and get good guidance on what is doing well in the shop, but it's not going to be perfect. I'm never going to pretend that it's going to be perfect. And I've already told some of the team, we can't say it's like 80% accurate, because under what circumstances is it 80% accurate? You know, it's only telling part of the story. I don't want to be dishonest to people and so forth. In terms of other parts of the site, like if you look at the competitor sales, again, we use public data, but because it's not at a listing level, we can get really accurate in there. So I can say to you, yeah, that's 99% accurate all the time, or, you know, over a week, it's 99% accurate. Over a day, it might be 95% accurate. That sort of stuff's like really sweet. You can go in there, you can compare it yourself, and you can see sale and sale, and it's like, okay, that's pretty bang on. I'll stop because I'm running out of breath. I haven't taken a breath.
No, we're just listening to you talk about the stuff that's way over our heads, number, percent, the equation. Yeah.
You know, something else that irks me is when people say search isn't accurate.
That's my least favorite.
To understand accuracy, you have to have a baseline. And the only accurate baseline you can get is from Etsy. So I can't say search is accurate, but I can say I'm very confident that this term is far popular than that other term.
Yeah.
So when people say something isn't accurate, I mean, you're stating the obvious for starters, but you're also basing that on information you just don't have. So I've seen some of our competitors in the past say, you know, we've got the most accurate search data. Based on what? Did someone in Etsy leak information that they consider intellectual property and trade secrets to you? No. So just be wary. I always want to be very honest with you about, you know, accuracy estimates and things like that.
The way that I always explain it to people is that as long as data is true, it cannot be inaccurate. It can only become more accurate the more that it is quantified. Yep. And I'm going to guess that because we are, and we can prove that we are the biggest Etsy SEO tool, that we likely have a bigger customer base, which could infer that we can likely afford more data than some of our competitors, which means that we are able to quantify that data a little bit more, which can lead to more accuracy. But accuracy is never going to equal 100% when it comes to, I mean, anything that we can't get directly from Etsy themselves. And no SEO services that you find out there are going to have data directly from Etsy when it comes to things like search volumes. It's not something that Etsy shares.
Same goes with Amazon, same goes with Google, same goes with Bing. I can tell you now, back in the day when I was at Microsoft and I had access to certain data, there were so many other things that you couldn't factor in. Like, what was a search? To me, it's like someone goes to the box, types something in. What if it's a bookmark or a link to a search page? Is that really a search? Is it someone browsing? Is there purchase intent? So, you know, we try to factor in as much of that as we can as we work out those numbers as well. Try and take the hard work and the guessing off your shoulders, like our members, and take that on ourselves.
Yeah,
and we've got an absolute truckload of data now. So, you know, we don't have to rely on survey of one to go, is home decor more popular than summer wreaths right now? You know, we have millions of people in our panel that we can rely on to give us a more objective opinion there.
Yeah, but I will with any data like this, and I used to work in big data, as it were, you're never looking to look at comparing one view to two views or something like that. You're looking at the big picture. Has this got 10 times more than this? Is this getting twice as many daily views or something? Because especially on the internet, you know, as Anthony alluded to, first of all, what's a search? But really crazy things like, is Etsy counting your own views? What about when it comes from different servers are putting your views forward and stuff? We have to even understand what a view means. So there's no point saying I had 1 view yesterday and 2 today, therefore I've doubled. It's like, no, just look at, I had 1 today, and next year I'm going to have 2,000. That's that's a meaningful change, basically.
Yeah, and
I hope people's eyes haven't glazed over with this. I hear myself and thinking, getting a bit technical there, mister. Couple of questions going. Are they coming in?
Oh yeah, we've got quite a few. The produce aisle had asked, did there used to be a way to separate digital listings from physical listings when looking at competitor results? Did that change? I think that you might be referring to the exclude keywords function that we added and demoed for the keyword tool.
Yeah.
Where you can exclude, if you want to go in when you're doing a keyword search over in the keyword tool.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting here is this is not keyword dependent. I think there are some attributes that we get back from the Etsy API that tell us a little bit more about the product, such as who made it, when it was made, is it digital? I'm going to make a little note of that because I think this is actually a really interesting opportunity to kind of improve the results that we give you. So if you sell purely physical, let's see what we can do to eliminate digital where we can to try and sharpen the pencil and get a bit more precise for you. I don't know what this person's name. I'll call them or Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Isle. But was there something in particular you were looking at in the competitor results? Please leave a comment and I'll take it away and see what we can do.
Yeah. And what we wouldn't want you to do is, put your blinders on, or maybe not you specifically, but what if we did have a physical product seller who finds an amazing gap in the marketplace for a digital version of something that they already sell? And, maybe they never considered turning an existing product into a digital download. And, they see that data, they see that gap, they see those high searches and low competition. I think that there's still a lot of good in exploring those areas. I don't think that it should be something that you should just immediately go check off on, no digital ever. Because I do think that a lot of digital trends and things that we see can transfer to physical products, or they can help to give you ideas for expanding your own products. You never know until you try. But no, I completely agree. I know that there are a lot of sellers who have expressed the same concerns, where they are mainly getting digital results in areas like paper and party supplies, cards, invitations, things like that. And it's just not the type of information that they're actually learning anything from for their specific industries. So that would be really interesting.
Great.
All right. Debbie had asked, is there a way to see the breakout by country or US versus non-US for your category? I do digital products and printables.
Maybe. Debbie, what exactly are you looking for there? And maybe if you can just tell me what tool are you looking at too? Yeah. We'll wait for a response there. I think Debbie's posted a few other comments along the way there.
Yeah, well, we do have, if anyone hasn't looked in the keyword tool, for any keyword you search for, you'll see the pie chart telling you what country, but I'm imagining she wants more than that.
Yeah, we do have some ability to segment out by country. So the keyword tool is a great example, actually. So you've got a drop down there, you've got a whole bunch of countries in there now. I'd say let's do all the countries, but unfortunately Etsy isn't the same everywhere. It's not so popular in Mozambique, but it's quite popular in India and Turkey and Australia and so forth. So we'll try and break down by country there. But Debbie, if there's somewhere else you're looking at, let us know, please.
Okay, she said that she's trying to figure out paper sizes, US, Canada versus UK. So basically, I'm assuming that you mean like the way that we label and list paper sizes.
Yeah, so in that case, I would use the keyword tool and use select either UK or US, whatever your markets that you're interested, the countries that you're interested in selling in, and try and search in there. Now, with sizes, it gets a little tricky because there are multiple ways that people search for different sizes. So inches if you're speaking American, you've got the double quote, you've got IN, you've got inches. You sometimes see it with a space between, sometimes without. And we're working to improve our matching so that we can cover as many of those combinations as we can, but it's extremely difficult. So when you go in there, just be mindful of that. If you're trying to figure out the right units to use, that people request it in many different ways.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the compare keywords tool. Like, for example, if you're listing a t-shirt, well, you could do T-shirt, T-E-E shirt, t-shirt, no space. You know, there's a million different ways to say t-shirt. I really like using the compare keywords tool for that. That way, at least you know how a majority of your customers are.
Yeah. And what we did a couple of weeks ago was we enabled a near match capability in our keyword tool. So if you were to type in t-shirt, it will include things like t-shirts and singular. I haven't tested it to see if we do the TEE too well, but have a look at that. It will look at those very, very close variations of what you typed in and try and include stats for those in there. And we've also included a tab so you can see what keywords we included in our calculations in there. So that's another way that just came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we do have a video on it on this channel if you want to have a look at that. And I do believe that Anthony is always looking on improving that, so give us some feedback there too.
Yeah, I'll let the cat out of the bag here. We are merging the related searches and the top tabs into one very shortly. We are like in the final stages of doing that because I found that the related searches, it's a little too precise. Even if you have like phrase match selected, it's still too precise and you don't get enough keyword ideas that I think are useful. So we're going to merge those two in together. The challenge is that, and if you've ever looked at the top tags, there's a lot of gibberish in there as well. So you'll find gift in there for pretty much anything. You'll probably find gift for him or gift for her in there a lot. That's not really a particularly useful keyword in most circumstances. So we're just fine-tuning that, making sure that we've got a good blend of tags and keyword ideas. And I think that will be ready next week.
Cool.
I have an update from the developers I'm going to look at after this call.
All right. Let's see. I love the new layout. We have a lot of comments about the layout and how it's a little bit more styled. So
I really appreciate that. And, you know, we've had a lot of people give us comments to the contrary. And that's why we've been changing it because, you know, it's time. Yeah. And then hit that little feedback button if you've got any ideas. We love to hear.
The produce aisle had said, this t-shirt tee discussion makes me wonder about jumpers. Like, what is it? A dress, a sweater, overalls, all three? Pam, you want to answer that one? We don't say jumpers here. I'm wearing my jumper.
Exactly. You have a very nice. I looked everywhere for my Christmas jumper, which would be sweatshirt, which would be pullover, lots of different. But we haven't. I don't believe we've got synonyms included in that tool yet.
We have not got support yet for those international variations. So Pam and I speak the Queen's English. Maybe not so well, or the King's English now, maybe not so well at times, but yeah, you will find those variations in there. And as we get more clever with our near matching capabilities, we'll support jumpers and sweaters. And
it's going to become confusing with URDs and thongs.
Cardigans, maybe.
And thongs and fanny packs are going to cause issues.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward. Yeah.
Oh yeah, got to use that compare keywords tool, guys. All right, let's see. I sell digital products in my store. I cannot make a profit when I open Etsy ads because the prices are very cheap. Is it possible to make good sales without any advertising? Yeah, lots of people do. you have to remember that advertising isn't a magical money-making button. You still have to have fantastic photos that are competitive with other people who are going to appear on that search page, both organically and in the other ads. You still have to have good SEO, and you still have to have a fantastic product. I'm a big fan of betting on your winning racehorses, where if you were to go to a horse race and you see all the different horses and you see how other people around you are betting, you're probably not going to bet on the horse that nobody else is betting on, and you're probably not going to bet on the horse that's never won a race. You're going to put your money behind the horse that's known for winning races. That's the winning racehorse. So look at the products that you have, and if you've got something that already is selling well, you're more likely to make a return on that investment. So, I mean, obviously, if you want to come to the table and gamble a little bit, that's fine too. If you want to put some ad revenue behind a listing that isn't, that's never sold before, but do so with the knowledge that it's like playing poker. You might win, but you might not. And as long as you know that you're gambling and you don't bet the whole house, you'll probably be okay. Just run it as an experiment. But if you want to have a little bit more certainty that you're going to make a return on that investment, target those products that are already selling well.
Yep, yeah. Completely agree. It's a little bit like gambling. I know there are some folks out there that just say, just turn the ads on and it'll solve all your problems. That's just not true. You do need to nurture it a little bit like SEO, but it's a different beast here. Like Starla says, it's got to have good fundamentals here. You've got to still follow good SEO best practices. You've got to do those sort of things and be very selective with which products you advertise.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're doing digital items, there's a possibility, if you wanted to advertise, there's no guarantees with advertising anyway, but you could possibly advertise if you had digital bundles that were worth a little bit more that could carry that extra. The other thing I'll always say with adverts, though, there could be more value than in just getting sales. It's not switch on and get sales. There is actually some data that you get in your Etsy shop from your ads. So if you go back and look, you might learn different keywords from what your ads were showing up under. If you are getting sales from it under Etsy ads, it does tell you which of the keywords have a good click-through rate and a good conversion rate if you're getting enough sales from the ads. So that you could turn something on, and if you're getting the data, then use that data, take it back into your listings. So it can have more value like that. But if it's costing you too much money, like the guys have said, it's like gambling. Don't gamble more than you can afford.
And if you've tried all that stuff that Starla and I have suggested and Pam, and it's still not working for you, then I would really focus on doing keyword and product research and just make sure that what you're making aligns with what people are searching for, and be mindful of seasonality and that sometimes things are hot and other times they are not hot.
Yeah. If you're trying to advertise a Christmas listing and it's July 31st, then you might not see the results you want. And
you might get a few early birds, but you're not going to make a fortune out of it.
Right. Debbie said ads are like alcohol. They just amplify how you're already feeling or how well an item sells. I love that. That's great.
That sounds like the worst logic I've ever heard in my life.
I love it. All right. Pascal had said, I'm satisfied with the sales of my 3-month-old shop, but I get a lot of people who choose my listings as their favorite, but then I don't understand the purpose of it. Is it for finding out back, or if they just like the listing? So favorites are just that. It doesn't mean that anybody's going to buy the item. It's a good indicator that people are finding it. It means that somebody found it. So if you're not doing a lot of external advertising, it might be an indication that your keywords are doing okay. But really, I wouldn't obsess over the favorites. A lot of people favorite things that they'll never buy. I do that. A lot of people will also place items in their cart. I hear that a lot this time of year where, somebody says, well, I've got this item is in 20 people's carts. How do I push them to buy? Well, there's nothing you can really do. You can set up the abandoned cart coupon. But aside from that, I think a lot of people just use their favorites in their carts to keep things that they might want to look at later, but there's really not a whole lot that you as the seller can gain from that other than the fact that someone found it.
Do you know, I've got a confession. So I don't even know. I can't remember where to find my favorites anymore.
when you were talking about this, Starla, it reminded me that people's purchase decision-making process takes time. It's not like, oh, I come and visit, I buy. It's, I come and visit, I like, I go and check a few other ones out, I come back, I bookmark it or favorite it, speak to, you know, someone else in the family to get their opinion possibly, and then eventually I'll buy. And I've seen research that shows that that can be a multi-week process.
7
and in
days.
the end, they may just decide not to do anything with it anyway. So you can have something in the cart that's just lingering there for a long time.
Yeah.
I recently started using eBay again.
Oh,
I don't
dear.
know. I know. Was it loser? And I discovered that if I put something, if I favorite something, the next day I usually get a coupon that says, hey, you can get this for 10% off or something like that. And I'm like, all right. So there could be people like that out there. So leverage Etsy's equivalent for that. But yeah, it's like not a very warm lead here. Yeah, it's just how it is, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There's actually lots of people out there giving the advice to favorite things or put it in their cart to see if you get a coupon. It doesn't mean that your shop won't sell if you don't have coupons going on for abandoned cart or whatever. But people do that now as part of their shopping. They don't go on and just buy. They go on and favorite or bung a load of things in their cart, then wait and then come back and see before they buy them, have I got any discounts? So we've taught shoppers to shop in a different way over the past few years.
It on average takes 7 brand exposures to convert a shopper into a buyer. So 7 brand exposures. That could be, for marketers, that's, you know, social media advertising and outreach, getting to know somebody, learning to trust them. But I could also see it taking that 7 brand exposures of looking back through your favorites and saying, oh yeah, that thing. Oh yeah, that thing. Oh yeah, that thing. Okay, I'm ready. So, you know, I don't have any wonderful you know, marketing guru numbers, but I do know that that 7 brand exposures is something that marketing experts have kind of lived by since the age of online marketing. So I assume that it probably takes Etsy buyers a little bit of time as well.
That's why Facebook ads stalk you.
Exactly.
You see the same thing until, like, you've liked something or looked at something. It's going to follow you till you buy the thing. And it works for me every time.
And I don't know about you, but I have a pet gripe because sometimes I go and buy something and the ads still linger around. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sucks around Christmas time too, because then your spouse starts getting the ads for the items that you've already purchased for them, which has already happened to me. So that's great. Rachie, are you Rachel or are you Rachie? Is your name actually Rachel? You're always in our streams. I'm just curious. Is there a way to give an example on what good keywords look like through eRank? You could crop out the keywords themselves. Okay, so good keywords are going to be different for everybody. For example, in my last shop, I was a top 1% seller. I had a ton of sales. I was the top of my industry. I was the #1 seller who created this particular type of jewelry. And I knew that even though I was targeting highly competitive keywords that had astronomical searches, but they also had astronomical levels of competition, I could easily rank for those because I already had the listing quality scores and the overall, you know, customer and marketplace experience score. That's your kind of good standing with Etsy. I had the ability to confidently select keywords that had high levels of competition and be able to rank for them. However, I have a new shop now. It's only been open since September 1st, I believe. And in that shop, I have to be a little bit more careful. I have to be a little bit more strategic with the keywords that I select because it hasn't been open very long. I don't have crazy listing quality scores. I don't have a crazy customer and marketplace experience score. I don't have that good standing with Etsy yet because it's a brand new shop. So a good keyword is going to look completely different for everybody. Green on eRank doesn't necessarily mean good keyword. It can help you to easily sort keywords, but you have to look at your own shop and study how easily you're able to rank for those terms over time. And a lot of that is going to be based on your history on Etsy and how many sales you have, how long you've been selling, how many good reviews you have. All of these things kind of play in. It's almost like, if you've got a machine and there's tons of little gears all turning at the same time, you can't ask which gear is the most important. Well, they're all important, because you can remove a big gear from the machine and the machine will stop turning. But you could also just remove a tiny gear from the machine and the machine will still stop turning. It's not really the size of the gears. It's the fact that all of these gears work together in unison.
Yeah, Etsy does tell us, and it's a very simple one. Your superstar keywords are the keywords that people are finding you for. So there's a good keyword. It doesn't matter what the search volume or the competition is. If people are searching for that and clicking on your shop when they see it in search with your listings, that's a good keyword to start with. So don't throw out those keywords. But as Starla says, there's no right and wrong. You want something that's relevant for your item. That's very important. There's no point finding a keyword that doesn't relate to what you can make. You want something that enough people are searching for that you will get some views, and at a competition that you can actually rank and search for. But don't overthink keywords. You don't have to find 13 good, amazing keywords. Find a couple of superstar keywords and then anything that looks relevant. Don't worry about the competition. Just see what happens.
Yeah, I think what resonates from what Pam and Stella just said is relevancy. So start with like a core keyword that's very relevant to your listing. If it's a silver ring, that's your core. Start with silver ring. It is what it is. It's undeniable. Start with that. Then I would evolve from there, and I would look at what's it for? An engagement, anniversary, something like that. Who's it for? Husband or wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, and anything else you can think of that relates to why someone would be buying this for themselves or for someone else. Think about that. Use the keyword tool to sort of come up with that core keyword, and then look at the different variations. Don't fixate on the numbers for the variations so much. Look at the combination of words. It's silver ring for him, silver ring for her, engagement, silver ring with opal, or whatever it is. These are the variations that people will be searching for. Now, you don't have to get it precise. Etsy have done a great job at mixing and matching the words, looking at all the different words in your title, in your tags, and apparently in the descriptions. And it says, okay, this person didn't quite search for what you've put in your tags, but it's pretty close, because I can see most of it's in this tag. Then there's a few in the other ones. It's like, that's good enough. That's a match. That's what you're looking for, is get a match. Then you're in the game. So start with that core, that superstar keyword, that silver ring, whatever it is for you, and then just bolt on different variations and let Etsy's combination and matching technology take care of the rest for you.
All right. Tech Perch I thought you were Tech Peach this whole time. Tech Perch, a quick bit of advice. I've extended shipping to well past New Year's and people are still ordering. Would you raise prices or go on vacation? I wouldn't do either. I would just make it clear that items aren't going to arrive by the holiday. And when someone places an order, maybe pop them a message real quick saying, hey, thanks for your order. Just wanted to let you know that our shipping deadline or our order cutoff date was December 10th. That's when I put mine. And there is no guarantee that it will arrive on time. And maybe even I give them an option to cancel. If this was needed by Christmas, I would be happy to go ahead and cancel the order for you. I do that before we even push the order to be processed. It's better to because canceling an order, it's not going to, get you dinged by Etsy. Etsy doesn't care if you're issuing a refund. It's better to give that customer fantastic customer service. That way they can take that money and get something that will arrive, than it is to get a bad review from somebody who was forced into accepting an item that they no longer wanted and potentially even having a case opened against your shop. So that's what I would personally do. Just go through all your listings and maybe even add a photo in there that says, items shipped past this date, and it can be a date that has already passed. It could have been, I did the 10th. Orders that are placed after the 10th are not guaranteed to arrive by December 25th.
I would go a little bit further and say I'd strongly recommend you contact them to let them know, because if they miss that information, if they're shopping in a hurry or whatever, it's so easy to miss that information, and they are going to be disappointed. Can you imagine the poor kid looking under the Christmas tree and going, I don't see anything here? That parent, that buyer is not going to leave you a good review. They're going to leave you the opposite. So don't take that risk. That negative feedback is going to seriously hurt your shop. And if you've got multiple people doing that, you're in big trouble. So please, I would strongly recommend you reach out to them now and make sure they know. You don't want to be coming back to me in February and going, oh, Anthony, you were so right. I didn't listen to your advice, and I got like 5 pieces of negative feedback in 3 days. And please be really careful there. It's smart to extend it out. I think that's a good option, but just let them know in case they missed it. You need to protect your reputation on Etsy here.
Yeah, very much so. Most customers on Etsy are nice. I'll put this in because there's so many horror stories, but this is the time of the year where you're going to get the most difficult ones because people are stressed out.
Yep.
As customers ourselves, we're probably not the best customers at this time of the year. So Anthony and Starla are totally right. I've actually done all 3 of those things at different periods in time because it depends on yourself. But very much if you've extended, if it's not going to be by Christmas, definitely message them. Make sure that is very, very clear in as many places, and cancel. Raising prices is always, I'd say it's a good thing. If your sales are so high that you're not keeping up, then it is a good time to readdress, are my prices good? But I will warn you, it doesn't necessarily slow down sales. I had to raise my prices about 4 times to slow down sales. But it's a good idea to reassess and say, okay, I'm making too many sales to deal with. Maybe my prices are a bit low. And vacation, I know people worry vacation kills your shop. It doesn't. Etsy tells us it's just because your competitors are getting sales, so they're building up their listing quality score and everything, and you're not. However, at this time of the year, if you've already made a ton more sales than them, taking a week or 2 off, you're gonna, every time I've done that, I've come back in January absolutely where I was before, because I already had more sales than them. So personally, for me now, I take a vacation because I can't be bothered with people. To be absolutely honest, I can't deal with it, so I take the vacation. But there have been other times where I've extended my shipping, I've messaged the customers. Most of them are saying, that's absolutely fine, I'll wait till the new year.
Hey,
And I've raised prices.
I want to jump in quickly here. Starla, I know it's 4 p.m. our time here. Are you still okay for a few more minutes, or you've got to...
I should probably bounce out, but Debbie Gardner was where I had left off. If you guys want to pick up, it was where she was trying to figure out how much of an opportunity creating more of my items. Pam, were you able to find that spot?
Got it. Yep.
Okay. We've got family showing up here in just a minute. So, and there's going to be a wee little one running around the house very loud. So, all right. Well, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll leave you guys with Pam and Anthony. However, if you're tuning into the Friday Bean tomorrow, please be aware that we're going to be starting at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, and we're going to be ending at 12. Normally we start at 12. However, Mark has to go get a steroidal injection tomorrow and get super duper loopy because he threw his back out yesterday. So we will, we will be starting early and ending early.
Okay. Thanks, Starla.
All right.
I hope
All right. See you guys later.
soon.
See you, Starla.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, poor Mark. He's in the wars right now.
Yeah, I saw that. Poor thing. Right.
I just wanted to finish off on the raising the price bit. What I've observed, looking at like lots of data over the years, is that conversion rates seem to work inversely with prices. Kind of Anthony, you're stating the obvious here. But on Etsy, it seems to be like a $5 rule. So you get over that $5 point, and conversion rate drops a little bit. It's like a psychological thing. So you go from $4.99 to $5, drops a little bit. Not so much from $5 to $5.99, but you get to $10 and then it drops a little bit more, $20 and so forth. And I'm exactly the same way. If I see something at a certain price, I'm more likely to buy it than if it was at a higher price. So just keep that in mind. There does seem to be a rough threshold around that $5 mark. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, something like that. So as you go up that pricing band, expect the conversion rate to drop down a little bit. So yeah, it will slow your sales down. You go up too much, it'll slow your sales down dramatically.
Yeah, there's another interesting sort of psychological thing with prices though. If you're on a search page and you get a whole list of prices, especially if you're buying a gift for someone, people will generally not go for the most expensive one unless they've got pots of money, but they'll also not necessarily go for the cheapest item. They'll go somewhere in the middle or somewhere a little higher in the middle because they're giving something nice to somebody, basically.
Yeah.
Or if you are doing expensive, this is a weird one, but there's a whiskey shop in Glasgow that's very famous for very fancy whiskies, basically. And you've got all your normal ones at normal prices, and then there's the real top shelf stuff. We're talking hundreds of pounds for a shot. Type expensive ones. So I remember asking one of the bar staff one of the times, and I said, out of your most expensive whiskies, which one sells the most? And he just looked at me and says, well, the most expensive one. Nobody comes in and goes, bartender, I'll have your second most expensive whiskey, please.
I don't know about you, but back in the good old days when I was dating, it wasn't cool to go, oh, what's your cheapest?
Yes, you can never ask for the cheapest.
Yeah,
that doesn't look good.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So I think we're up to Debbie, right?
Yep. So Debbie asked, this is just a follow on from the rest of the world things. So trying to figure out how much of an opportunity creating more items into A4, because that is, for people that don't know, in the US, you've got letter size, which is your size of letters, whereas I think the entire rest of the world uses A4 as a letter size, and they're a very slightly different size.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's approximate. There's an old printing rule for that, and I can't remember. It's like, a ream of paper came in a certain size, and they called that A1. You fold that in half, it's A2. Fold it in half again, A3, A4, etc.
Yep.
I don't know why
it's as simple as that. Yes.
I don't know why it's so different everywhere.
I would say with that, the opportunity, what I would use the keyword tool and look at the countries that are into that. So look at the little pie chart with the different countries. If it's mainly the US, then you would be looking at letter size. If you're 50-50 with the US and the rest of the world, then possibly A4. And I think it's most of the rest of the world use A4. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, I actually just went into the keyword tool, searched for A4 in the US, and I'm just looking at the related searches, because A4, we're going to get a lot of related searches for that. So we've got about 70 different variations in there, but nothing is really like standing out as high search volume there. I'm just going to switch to the UK.
Yeah, I think it would be more a case of like the templates or whatever they're selling. Like I wouldn't search for A4 letter templates or something. I would search for letter templates, and I'm in the UK, and I would assume it's coming in A4. And that is, for anyone sort of shipping internationally, knowing the international standards is kind of important.
Yeah. It's interesting. Actually, I'm just looking at the searches by country for A4. Oddly enough, the US still has a lot more searches than, say, the UK. But I think that's skewed by the sheer massive size of the, Etsy US audience.
Yeah, I think we see massive searches for like UK spellings of things. Still, the US is some of the highest searches because you just have so many people over there.
Yep. All right. I don't know if we help you there, Debbie, but hopefully you got enough to get on your way there.
It's a tricky one, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the produce aisle. Can we talk about stock quantity and how it affects the data? Does it matter for print-on-demand items? Does it matter at all? Stock quantity matters for you more than anything else.
Yeah, I think the only time that stock quantity is a concern for me, just personally, is when it's really low and it might be about to run out. In which case, get a bit of fire under the butt, and it's like, okay, I better make a decision quickly. I'm not sure whether manipulating stock quantity is a terrific tactic to boost sales. You can certainly experiment. I'd love to hear from people who've done that and whether they had any success, but I think you could probably spend more time focusing on other things. I would rather set something up, check the reports occasionally, rather than set something up and have to go and modify the quantities every other day or something like that. Yeah. So I don't think it matters.
Well, print on demand is easy because someone else is dealing with your inventory, which does make things much easier.
Yeah.
I'd say there's kind of two sides to it. Starla spoke a while ago. She was talking about one of the people in her group, and she went into their shop and saw something and it said only one available. So Starla's like, I've got to buy this. Bought it. The next day it's relisted again. She's like, that's my own tactic I just fell for. So there is the thing with that. However, that's something I do with one of my items just to slow it down. But it does mean there's sometimes at night or something, you might have made more sales. But at the same time, if you put too many, this is something that super happened during the pandemic. People would put 999 items of something and it sold. And suddenly people are sitting going, I don't have 999 of this.
Yeah, that can be an awkward conversation. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
maybe keep it honest, keep it realistic.
Yeah. Exactly. Do what works for you, but it's not really going to. I don't believe that Etsy looks at the number and goes, oh, they've got 10,000 listings there. 10,000 of that, I don't know what the top number is, probably 999. They've got this many. Fantastic. We'll show them more. I don't think Etsy cares about that.
Hey, I think it puts a badge on there, doesn't it? Like last one or something like that?
Yeah, that's the last one is something that might help slightly. It does. It makes it harder on your management because you have to like I say, this is what I do, not to trick people into buying, but just so I can throttle the sales a little bit. Because if I don't feel, because I have to make them to like pretty much there and then. So if I don't feel like making one, I just don't renew them for a bit. But yeah, you do have that last one remaining, so it does create a sort of sense of urgency. But yeah, I would just put your inventory to what works for you is probably the easiest. I'm not as good as Starla at trying to read and talk at the same time. So I'm trying to see what is actually questions and what is chat between you guys, which is fantastic. So if I miss any, Anthony, let me know.
Yep.
Oh, here's Debbie asking, I saw a question mark, so I assume it's a question. Any advice on abandoned cart? My conversion is low at 3.6%. That's not low, that's really good.
Yep.
Can we just give a discount, or is there any way to add a message in the auto coupon? I don't think there's any message in the auto coupon. I've never set up the abandoned cart. Does anybody know?
I don't know, Debbie. I don't know the answer to that, but 3.6 is nothing to be ashamed of unless you're selling 10-cent items. 3.6%. I dare say everyone on the stream right now would say I would love 3.6% conversion rate.
Yeah,
don't beat yourself up too much there. It's a pretty good conversion rate.
Yeah, I think retail average is sort of about 2%, but as Anthony said, the conversion varies with price. So if you're selling $10,000 wedding dresses, the conversion rate is going to be through the floor. That's it's going to be tiny, but the shop might be doing really well. Whereas if you're selling stickers, the conversion rate could be super high because people don't have to think. They look, they go, that's cute, buy. Whereas something that costs a small car or something, you have to think about it a few times. Oh, Linda, quickly, did you guys see the digital gift card Etsy created and added to our dashboard?
Oh,
Possibly for gift not arriving by Christmas.
oh no.
I think we've had digital gift cards last year. They did
Yeah,
something
last year.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. And I think they may have done something when we're in lockdown along those lines for that specific reason. I think it's nice, and unfortunately, there are people out there which shop at the last minute. Yeah. I'm glad they do it, but oh gosh.
Yes.
Can you imagine the poor kid with a card? It's like an IOU.
Yes, I've had to do that a couple of times when customers have purchased and things have happened with the post. I've made them like a little PDF and they were happy, but that's a rare thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing I see, that's when she's saying possibly for the gift not arriving by Christmas. Also be aware with this year Etsy's done the guarantee of arrives on time or your money back, which is whatever we all think of that. But if your item qualifies for the purchase protection program, which is basically you've used shipping labels and it's under $500, with your processing time and the shipping carrier that you select, Etsy estimates the time it's going to be delivered by, and if it's not delivered by that time, they guarantee they will refund the buyer. So that's a thing that Etsy's been doing this year. I've had one.
I kind of get the feeling that us sellers are going to be going, why am I fielding this question? We'll see. What else we got there?
It's to bring more confidence in buyers, because for all we speak about horrible buyers out there, there's some pretty horrible sellers as well. So people get nervous.
What do you think we've got all these rules in place? It's because there's some scammer trying to get money out of poor innocent buyers. So.
Exactly.
Two-sided coin.
Right, I'm just trying to see if we've got any more questions.
Actually, Tech Coach had an interesting comment here. Said he loves the orders page. Awesome, thank you. Shows how lax our National Post Service is at scanning deliveries. And Tech's saying, I get sparkling reviews for stuff that still says it's in transit. So, yeah, we've seen that a lot. And when there's peak times, it's like they just forget. The postie forgets to scan, and suddenly it's arriving on the doorstep. But the reason why I want to bring this up is the orders page is really useful at this time of the year, because you have to assume that if it's in transit and this person it looks like it's clearly a gift for someone, you probably want to keep an eye on that page daily and just let people know if you see a delay there, because like I said earlier, if it doesn't arrive and young Johnny doesn't get his toy under the tree at Christmas time, someone's going to be upset and they're going to vent in their review of your listing. So check out those orders. If you've got tracking on there, make sure it's running on time. If you notice something's a bit delayed, reach out to them, let them know. Minimizing the shock can sometimes soften the blow.
Absolutely, yeah. Keeping them updated is a good thing. I will say a strange little funny one that I had from a company that's not on Etsy, but I ordered from a Facebook ad, and then I had buyer remorse straight away going, have I just done a scam or one? And in the first 24 hours of me ordering from that ad, I got 2 messages from them going, oops, we've lost your order, but don't worry, we found it again. That really helped my confidence no end. So there's communication, and there's that wasn't good communication.
I'm also seeing some other comments in here which we haven't responded to. I think Crystal's got a good one about the tasks page, and I think tasks not really meaning much as a title. So I'm going to have a look at that as well. She proposed getting started, which I think actually makes more sense. So
yeah, that's cool.
look into that. So thank you everyone who's put in the comments there. We do go through those and review them and go, can we be doing a better job here?
Yes, we're not ignoring you. There's so many comments, and I'm terrible at speed reading. Stella is so much better at this.
I'm not going to pick out Brian because he said 80% and got it way off earlier. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. Okay. How did we go? Did we get through the list?
That's all the questions I can see. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we will check on your. We will read the comments as well, guys. So we're not ignoring everybody, but thank you all so much. Yeah. And
terrific. Well, thank you for staying around. I know we went over time, which seems to be normal when I'm on the Q&A. I hope you guys have had a pretty good holiday season. I know from Etsy's announcement yesterday, that shock announcement, it hasn't been going so well for Etsy this year. So if you've been struggling, you're in good company. Unfortunately, company of other sad people. But I hope it's been going well. Hang with it because as we all know, if you've been around enough cycles, it does go better some years than others. So anyway, I hope it's all going well for you guys. Pam, are we back on next week?
This will be my last live. It's up to you guys if you want to do it. So thanks everyone for being with me, and I'll see you in the new year. But the guys can decide if they want to.
Yeah, we'll figure that out during the week. If I can maybe ask nicely for Brian or Starla to join, we might have one more, and then we'll restart back in January. So everyone take care, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.